All right, we're back, and we're still taking some time to get some call-ins, but we're gonna take a Reddit question here because I was just talking a little bit about it offline with Steve. He's just fucking going crazy, so I'm like, just wait till we go on air, dude. Just wait till we fucking go on air. Okay, so first question. Hold on a second. First question has to do, actually, first question is from Mr. Middling Penguin, who I believe asked this the last week or the last 2 weeks, and of course I didn't ask it. Yeah, so fulfilling broken promises for Middling Penguin here. He was asking, can we hear Destiny's opinion on what happened on the Eve subreddit last week with regards to the article he wrote and the stuff that went on in the subreddit? What are his opinions on the matters of this article today? Does he justify his actions and things that he said that went on over there? Did he ever end up paying 43 million ISK to the guy he bet, or did the guy not validate his points? You're gonna have to sum it up, Steven, because a lot of people don't know what the hell we're talking about, and
okay,
I don't
here
even
we
know.
go. Okay, are you fucking ready? Eve is a very complicated game. Okay, not very. It's not really though, unless you're fucking retarded.
Hold on. Can I get some popcorn?
Exactly. We need some wheat popcorn here, man.
I'm ready.
As long as you're not fucking retarded, Eve is not that complicated. Everything is accessible to you. You can read the formula, you can go through, you can do the math yourself. It's not hard math. Nothing is difficult, right? There's a little bit of Calc 3 here and there, right? If you talk about vectors here. But even that, like, not even really. You don't even need to understand calculus to be able to do the majority of the math of all those games. So it's not that difficult. A lot of people post that picture of, like, the Eve skill curve. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, most of the players that play this game have no fucking idea how anything fucking works, okay? Everything is passed on via word of mouth, right? When I first started playing Eve, I always said that I like to learn by myself. I like to make my own mistakes. I like to do all that shit. I'll do that over and over and over again. And a lot of people's assholes expanded fucking 20 times that day when they read it. They were so fucking butt rustled. Like, oh, you can't ignore the advice of veterans, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's fucking bull. It's like, no, I like to learn shit myself because I don't know how many people have an actual understanding of everything that's going on versus how many people just like vomit the same information that they've heard over and over and over and over again like a mindless fucking dipshit, right? Which is the majority of people on the fucking planet, right? We all know that, right? The majority of people will hear information. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, if everybody says it like, that's fucking, that's true, I'm sure. And so they just fucking repeat it. Okay, you know what? There is a psychology experiment, okay? 5 monkeys are put into a room, okay? 5 monkeys are put into a room. There's a banana placed at the top of the ladder. Whenever the monkeys climb for the banana, the researchers like spray water or shock them or some shit, right? So one goes for it, they get shocked. One goes for it, they get shocked. Eventually, all the monkeys fuck off, right? Fuck, we can't go for the banana because we're fucked. They remove one of the monkeys and they put a new monkey in. That monkey immediately runs for the banana. All of the other monkeys pull him back. Like, don't go for the banana, bro. Like, fuck. Like, we're gonna get fucking shocked, right? Eventually, he learns not to go for the banana. They pull out another monkey and they replace another one. He instantly runs for the banana. They pull him back. Like, dog, fuck off. We don't want to get shocked. Eventually, it gets to the point to where all 5 monkeys are replaced in the cage. And as soon as they put in the last new monkey, he runs for the ladder. But every monkey pulls him back. But why? They don't actually know why they're pulling them back. None of the monkeys there have actually seen a monkey get shocked before. It's just learned behavior that they're repeating from the community monkeys before that they never actually understood why, right? So that's pretty much every community of every game ever. So, that being said, okay, putting all of that bullshit behind us, I wrote there are ships in the game that are very hard to kill, and I wrote a very big article doing like a mathematical analysis of like how you can like power amplification more or less, right? And for the most part, it was obviously it's my own work, so I'm circle jerking myself a little bit, but it was like it was a well-read article. Like I had graphs, I had math, I had explanations behind everything. Everything was super backed up. Everything was fine, right? The problem with the article was that in the first two paragraphs, like I wrote my justification for the article, like, oh, like I like to do all this shit because, you know, sometimes there are a lot of people that hold a lot of like, that hold a lot of common beliefs that aren't necessarily true. And I gave like 2 quick examples, right? And that's what the entire fucking thread was about. The entire fucking thread was about 5% of that article. So the first response was some fucking retarded inbred piece of shit who was saying like, oh, well, like, you're wrong on that and that. And then like the entire thread pretty much went pretty much went from there. Basically, there was some bullshit where I was saying, like, if you turn this thing on, it's not actually that bad sometimes. Like, a lot of people act like if you push this button, you're gonna take a fuck ton of damage. But if you go through and you, like, look at how all the formulas work, that's actually not really true. And then people were, like, going crazy, like, saying the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen in my... This post had 20 upvotes. Listen, let me read you some of this post, okay? Let me read you some of this post. Go back and look at the image again. If you might bother to actually read it, you would find that those are two completely different fractions being multiplied. You might have a point had they been part of the same fraction, but as I said, they're completely different and you can't just cancel them out. This guy doesn't know how to fucking multiply fractions. Multiply fraction! I learned this in 7th grade! And he got 20 upvotes. And then there are more people like posting like dumbest shit, like just because you increase your velocity doesn't necessarily mean you're increasing your transverse unless you don't move at a perfect orbit. Like, dog, that's not how fucking vectors work, you fucking retard. As long as you increase, if you increase a fucking thing, all of the vectors associated with it will increase proportional to that. Like it's math, like it's like 100% fucking math. Like it's not even like up for opinions. And people are just posting all of the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen in my entire. And I don't even know know what to say. And like I got so fucking rustled, like so many fucking Rits that are just making the dumbest fucking things. Actually, you do. You have to make sure that 100% of that speed increase is going towards your angular velocity. That's not fucking true. Like all of the shit that people are posting are like mathematical. Like it's like you walk into a thread and everybody's like 2 + 2 = 7. You fucking retard. And then they get upvoted. And this guy's like, what? Oh my god. There's the reason why people keep this stuff off, blah blah, like people kept saying shit like that. Yeah, and the reason is because you're just mindlessly fucking parroting everything you've heard, you fucking. So basically the argument came down to like where I was saying, as long as you're moving at your max velocity and turn this shit on, it's actually not that bad for you. And then the guy's like, oh, blah blah blah, and I was like, fuck it, let's fucking bet on it. And so his counter to my thing was to throw a whole bunch of fits at me that reduce your maximum velocity. It was like, alright, you know what, suck my fucking dick. I had like these huge fucking nails. I was gonna fucking nail my testicles to my desk and fucking blow my fucking brains out after trying to do this thread. I will never, ever, ever. I knew there's a reason why you don't engage like communities in big discussions. Absolute fucking, like, I've never seen so much fucking autism. I felt like there was like a 2nd grade class that had gotten like computer privileges for the day, and they all decided to go on the fucking Eve subreddit. Holy shit. I can't even believe it. I can't even
wow.
like
that's
not,
even
like,
a nutshell right there, guys.
There were actually a few people that had like decent points. Like there were a few people that brought up some things, and I learned a couple things. Like there were a couple like, oh, like with a lot of armor fits, you're always gonna fit some stuff that will reduce your max velocity, like shit like that. It's like, oh, well in that case, like obviously what I said isn't true. Like I know that because I'm not a fucking retard, you know. But they're like 95% of the thread like makes me feel so good about my decision to never ever ever take what somebody says at face value, because very few people in that thread have any fucking idea how even like 8th grade fucking algebra works. Holy shit. Alright.
So, Paul, any thoughts? Wow.
What this guy just said in my chat. I remember one guy was talking. No, I don't even want to go into it. All of it is just so fucking stupid. Some fucking retard arguing like, oh well, transverse speed is really important. I was like, no, transverse speed doesn't mean fucking anything. You fucking retard. Like, oh, there's just so. If you go to a guy and he's like, hey, how much money do you make? And you're like, I make $12. Like the guy would say, $12 a what? You like, what does that even mean? You have to qualify with something like $12 an hour. You know, people are talking about like transverse speed, like because it helps you hit shit, but it's actually the angular velocity that matters. The transverse doesn't mean shit, because somebody moving 10 meters per second in front of you versus somebody moving 10 meters per second a kilometer away, like, is a lot easier to track. That's like, right? Like, it's coming. Never mind. This is done. I couldn't handle this fucking thread, dog. I couldn't fucking handle it. Wow. I am literally in a computing lab right now doing vector calculus. Seriously, 3rd year chemical process modeling, and he doesn't know how vector. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god. All right, we're done. I'm done with it. Okay.
Let's take a sub-call in after that.
I think the only thing I can say about this is that I may have enjoyed myself in the last 10 minutes more than I've enjoyed myself in quite some time. Thank you, Stephen.
I don't think I've laughed harder on the show in a long time until just now.
I've shed tears. It's been fun. It's been emotional.
Okay, let's take a caller after that. All right, here we go. I'm going to fix the screen now. Shit. Jeez.
Hello?
Hey, welcome to Unfiltered.
Well, glad to be here. It's kind of hard to follow up that rant, but...
That's okay. Somebody had to do it, so... You got a question for us?
I have a couple questions if you have time for both.
Sure, go for it.
My first question, what are you guys' opinions on the recent repopularization of Super Smash Brothers? To be more precise, like what are your opinions on recognition of, Super Smash as an esport? What are your ideas of maybe, Team Liquid's recent decision to form a Super Smash team? Things of this nature. Is that like a wise business endeavor? I mean, just general ideas, I suppose, of this,
Yeah.
Super Smash.
Who wants to take it? ReDeYe, you want to take it? Is ESL maybe
Yeah,
playing some
sure.
of
No,
those?
I will talk from a non-ESL point of view.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
My personal thoughts are it's good, it's great. Let's not be elitist about what constitutes an esport. Otherwise, we'll start fucking keying out a lot of games that don't factor. Is FIFA 14 an esport? Yeah, absolutely it is. It's got a great esport community, but
Riot?
I doubt many people here would have understood that it does, or even know that there was a ton of prize money given away last year on it. But it does have a very healthy esports community behind it. But it's a football game played in the virtual world, and I guess most people might say, "No, bullshit, that's not an esport." Well, sorry guys, it is, and I'm not saying that we could just make Tetris an esport tomorrow, and that'd be cool. But there is a limit somewhere. But I just want us to make sure we're not elitist about what constitutes an esport. If you have competition and you have prize money and you have tournaments, it's an esport, and that's as simple as it can get. And the guys behind it, if they push it and they want to, bring tournaments and other tournament companies want to sponsor it and run them, then good luck to them. And I think that's a really cool thing. And the Smash scene is actually a really cool place full of really fun people. So I say good luck to them.
Steven, any thoughts on Smash?
Just looking at it from an optimistic, naive point of view, I think Super Smash Bros. Is an awesome game. A lot of people have played Super Smash Bros. Everybody can identify the characters. Everybody knows who Link is. Everybody knows who, fucking Metroid, Samus. Like everybody knows there's so much familiarity with the franchise. Everybody knows who Kirby is. Like it's an awesome thing to do. Yeah. So from an esports perspective, there's a really high skill cap. In Super Smash Bros. Like it's not just people mashing buttons like you might do with your friends, or insta-locking Roy or Marth and hitting the C keys like I do. There's the highest level players are very fucking good at the game. The only thing that worries me about making Super Smash Bros. An esport is Nintendo is like literally like the Hitlers of the 21st century when it comes to shit like that. I hope that they don't fuck that up, because I think it would be an amazing opportunity to have that game as an esport. Like it opens you up to so many more people, I think.
Right, but I suppose even, being the case that Nintendo doesn't really push Super Smash Brothers to be, a competitive game. You do have these community-driven, instances of, Project M is the only thing I can think about, and I don't really know anything about it, but from my understanding, it's a purely community-driven project, right?
Oh yeah,
So
it's fine if it's community.
Now, come on, man. I mean, like until 2-3 years ago, no video game was esports centric. There were none. They were all community driven. It was basically a game became an esport because people played it.
Well, that's not really what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Nintendo has, explicitly stated that they're not really making Super Smash to be like a competitive game in any respect. Like they're intentionally making
okay.
it.
That's
no,
fine.
I'm not saying that it's not okay.
The problem. The problem isn't that Nintendo's not going to support it, though. The problem is that Nintendo will actively try to stop it. Like I said, like Nintendo's done some super fucked up shit. More so than like almost any other company, I think. Nintendo has done some crazy fucked up shit to fuck content producers over online before. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they don't take issue with people streaming their tournaments as part of a sport thing.
I guess my point, just in response to that, was that as a response from the community, you kind of have gotten this, I don't know, solidarity within the community as a response to Nintendo's actions. And so, on the one hand, I guess, Nintendo's actions might be seen as a bad thing, but you kind of get like a positive effect out of that. But anywho, I don't know if you want to move on to the next question.
Yeah, sure. What's your next question?
Second question, the current state of esports isn't, it's not really like a streamlined industry in terms of employment. You don't just fill out an application and go to, your local Burger King, or whatever, and get a job in esports. So you don't really go to school
Right.
for esports, whatever. You know, with all this in mind, you know, when, like, a rough estimate, when you think, if at all, esports will, you know, reach this point of streamlined employment.
It's
Well,
already there.
it's already
I
there,
think if
yeah,
you don't know
exactly.
if you don't know it's already there, then look a bit harder, because there's plenty of companies out there who are hiring on a regular basis. ESL is one of them. We have a careers page on our Total site where you can
I
apply
think
for a job. There are job listings there all the time. I think there's like 10 jobs up right now. And if there isn't one that suits you, you can send us a CV, and we consider everyone, and we take on a ton of new people every single month. I mean, hundreds. We've had, I think we've got like 200 across all of our offices right now worldwide, which is, you might say, well, that's not very many. There's only 200 jobs. I'm not going to go to college and learn how to be in esports for 200 jobs, but actually that's 200 more than there were 3 years ago. So it's definitely growing.
I also think
It's not on the worldwide scale right now, sure, but there are still lots and lots of jobs, and it depends what you want to do and how you can be involved.
I mean, I guess I was just talking more or less like in the grand scheme of things. You know, sure, we can give examples of, you know, this being the case, but just in the grand scheme of things, it's not really the case.
Well, I think you're pigeonholing, like, going to school for esports. You know, right now you can get esports jobs with, just expertise or a degree in productions, communications, marketing. You know, it just happens that the esports is just the space. You know, there's a lot of
I think
Right.
maybe I think
understand
what he's
that,
talking
yeah.
about is it's like it's a really really small industry right now. Like it's not like I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna graduate and I'm gonna do esports for sure. And there's like thousands of esports jobs waiting for you. Like obviously, like even if ESL is hiring, it's not like they don't have like 100 million employees worldwide or anything like that. So yeah, like the jobs that you're asking about, they do exist. It's just they're really really it's really hard to find them right now because it's a pretty small industry.
Yep.
It'll scale as the industry scales, I guess. But we're starting to
Yeah.
see it. We're starting to see more and more jobs opening up, and more and more money coming into esports, which leads to jobs too. So.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And my
I
question
think if
was
we
more... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if we look back to the early part of esports, I mean, back in 2002, I could probably name zero amount of shoutcasters that actually earned any money. Okay, and in 2005, there were at least 3 full-time commentators worldwide. There are now today earning money as full-time shoutcasters. There are more than 35 of them. So that's growth, right? I mean, I'm just talking about a very small niche of commentators. And it's become huge. It's become proper business now, and that's just commentary. And imagine what it's like in production, cameras, back end, admins, you name it. The whole infrastructure at ESL is based on the fact that we have people across the board in lots of different roles. And yes, to answer one of the chat questions, we do have internships, and we have regular internships, but we don't pay them because they're internships. That's the point. I don't know why you're getting at me for not paying interns, but we don't pay interns, and no one else does. Well, very rarely do they. But what we do is we monitor their performance. No, because we monitor their performance over 3 months, and if they're not good enough, they get asked to leave. If they're good enough, we give them a job. I mean, that's how they get in. That's what they're there to show us. I mean, some of these guys are coming in from college, and they're 17, 18. They've got no life experience. They've got no job experience. And what, you expect us to just pay them 25 grand and turn up and hope they do a good job? No, that's not how the real world works. So, sure, we have interns, and some of them do go on to do a fantastic job. Tons of them at the ESL offices in Germany have started off as an intern and gone on to a full-time job. So, it can work.
Yes, Cheese. Does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, more or less.
All right.
So-
Well, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. All right, we got Ryan Liu here. We're doing sub call-ins, guys, for those of you just tuning in. Ryan, you there?
Oi, oi.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Unfiltered.
Hey, thanks, guys. I got 2 questions for ChanManV.
Okay. 2 for me. Wow. Okay.
Aye. Sorry, guys. First one, Real Talk. JP's been doing Let's Plays lately, and he hasn't been doing a Real Talk show for quite a while.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you were going to maybe do one yourself.
Oh, Real Talk? I've never really thought about doing them. I don't know. That's definitely a possibility. It's definitely something I've thought about at some point. But I think I don't know. I think Doran does a pretty good job with the the videos that or the like grilled and some of the interviews that he's done. That kind of covers that space pretty well. And Doran does a great job too. So that's why I really haven't pursued it or even thought about it that much.
That said, I used to love the Real Talks.
Yeah, Real Talks were done. I mean, JP did a really good job with them.
Thing is though, with the Reflection series that Foreign does, it's not like the whole life story of the player or the person, which is why I guess Real Talk would be a better alternative for it.
Okay, I mean, definitely something I can think about.
Thanks. Second question is, as a Chinaman myself, right? Why are there no extra small T-shirts? Because Chinese people on average, right? Chinese people on average, their height is smaller than a white person. All right.
Okay.
And where is it? Where is it, man?
So you wear extra small? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's just the smalls are too big for me, man.
Well, well, we don't have any extra smalls because not many people make extra small or wear extra small. So right now we're just with Unfiltered shirts. We're just trying out I guess just the most popular sizes. And if they sell, if they're doing well, then of course we're gonna order some more, and I'll order some extra smalls for you, dude, next time.
Okay, thanks, man. That's all I've got. Love you all.
All right,
feed Nathan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Bye.
Thanks.
Feed Nathan. Awesome.
Can I Oh
So
man.
your T-shirt sizes are racist, Chris.
Yeah, they're racist.
I love it.
Sexist and racist.
I really like the idea behind JP's Real Talk, and I love JP. JP knows I love him. If he sees this, he knows I love him. But I thought that his execution of that was absolutely fucking terrible. Like
too professional or too
No. Like it always felt like he had no interest whatsoever in whoever he was talking to. Like he would never when you do a good interview, you're supposed to kind of roll with what you hear from the guy, right? But like I wish I could remember. There were so many examples where like somebody would be doing a real talk with him or something, and they would say something along the lines of like it would be there's like a bit of an exaggeration, but he'd be like, "How was your family life growing up?" And the guy would say something like, "Oh, like it was pretty good, except like like my mom and dad like brutally raped me growing up when I was a child." And then JP would be like, "Oh, okay, how was school?" Like he would just skip over things like that instead of like ever asking somebody, instead of pushing somebody on something interesting they then bring up. That would happen so many times during a real talk. But sorry, okay.
On the flip side, I do remember some where he actually did chase down the questions as well. So you're right. I think
that's good. Maybe he was improving towards the end then.
Yeah, I think it depended on who he got on and whether he was interested in them actually as an esports personality as well, more than anything else.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Ignace, you there?
Hey,
what's
how
up,
you doing,
buddy?
guys?
Welcome to Unfiltered.
Thanks.
You got a question?
Yeah, my question would be, do you think tournament organizers should bring people from outside esports to help with hosting? Like, for example, last year, Dota had Casey Atchison. I hope I'm not butchering her name.
Casey.
She played a core part in hosting TI3, and I think it worked out really good. Do you think there's room for that in StarCraft and League?
Yes, I do, and it's a difficult subject actually. I think a lot of people, as we get more professional, and our TV production gets ramped up every year, I think eventually we'll get to a point where we'll either get rid of the dross and get rid of the people that are doing an average job and are never improving, and we'll get real TV professionals. It's as simple as that. And I think Casey was possibly the start of that. Although I've also worked with a number of people in esports who are from outside esports. People like Striker, for instance, who's a K-Rock DJ and an MTV host, hosted a lot of CGS stuff. Andrew Siciliano comes from Fox Sports. He's also done esports as well. So there are a number of people that have done it over the years, and they've done a really, really good job. And the reason for that is because they are TV professionals. They know exactly how to do it. It doesn't matter whether they know the game or not. Sure, it helps if they know the game. And I think what Casey did really well is that she really got under the skin of the community and understood the mentality within Dota, so that when she started talking and she had that, those interviews, it wasn't necessarily any depth, and it's much like mine with StarCraft. There's no real depth to them, but there's a quality that she's able to react to people in a really good way, and she gets that from TV. It's as simple as that. So yeah, there's definitely room for it, and I think we, as a community of commentators and hosts, we should be very worried about the future. If we don't step up our mark and be more professional and do a better job, then I guarantee you, when this all starts to get ramped up to another level, we'll get replaced by people that have done TV for 20 years.
Yeah, Casey was really endearing too. She it's really hard to pull that off too when you don't know anything about what you're reporting, but you have this kind of very eager to learn about it and really
Yeah, I
just
think
discovering it and excited. It was really great that she.
I think you have to have a very positive attitude when you're going into it. She approached it really well.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, I hope that answered your question.
Also,
Okay.
Paul, good job on the VCS. Really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thanks.
Cheers.
All right, thanks. Okay, one more caller, Joe. All right, subs are actually calling in today. I like it, man.
Uh-oh.
This is from last. I think Joe called in last time, so this should be interesting. What's up, Joe?
Guys, hello.
Welcome
Hey.
back, dude.
Hi. Thank you. So my question is about TESPA. They tried to do the community fundraising thing, and they got a lot of backlash. Like, if you looked in the comments, people seemed actually angry with it.
Yep.
But when we saw like indirect community funding, and it's the prize pool, so it's a little bit different. But like SC2L did the router sales, and the GSL subscriptions funded the GAMI XP Global Tournament. Like $10 for each subscription went to it. People were fine with that, and they thought it was great, and they like tried to push and kind of circle jerk each other to do it. And I don't get why it's that different. Like me personally, I would rather give my money directly to an organization that I know is going to put it towards a better show, rather than making the prize pool a little bigger, like taking the $10 of my 100 that I spent on an overpriced router.
Steven, you want to take
This
this?
is why you find out something like marketing is so fucking important. Marketing is absolutely everything. Your product almost doesn't matter sometimes in an industry like this, depending on how you market it. I'm pretty sure Paul would agree with that. Like, if you have like, you can take any announcement and you can spin it. I say spin it, but just the way that you present certain things can either be done incredibly positively or incredibly negatively, such that your original message almost doesn't even matter. So I mean, all you're seeing is right now you're just seeing that effect of marketing on different products.
Yep, don't disagree.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
This is a bit like the Lone Star Clash thing earlier, and I think both things are actually suffering from from some less than stellar performances in the crowdfunding over the last year or so, in particularly in StarCraft as well. So they're both struggling from it, but GSL in a weird sort of way suffering from it more because it felt, as Stephen rightly pointed out, it felt like their message wasn't kind of community orientated, and therefore people were like, well, what the hell? It feels like they're demanding this money. And they're not. It's no different to what they did before, but it feels different, and that's the important thing.
And it's just, again, it's some inexperienced folks, doing this, and they'll learn from this for sure. It's
first rule of it is understand your market and understand your community.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Absolutely.
then you can make some horrific mistakes.
All right,
Absolutely.
thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Joe. Okay, so I think we do have one more caller, but in the meantime, let me ask a quick Reddit question here. Oops. There we go. It's Karma Drive asks, what do you think of the rise of personal sponsorships with MC, Oz, Hyun, all doing well over the weekend? Are teams being phased out? Is this because practice is just laddering these days?
I mean, it's like people have said in the past, like there's, aside from like practice, a team is fucking pointless. Like there aren't any team leagues that or except for I think Pro League doesn't do all kill format, right? Like besides like that, like there's no real point. Like there's no team. It's not a team. It's just a collection of 1v1 players, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not surprising to me that a lot of people are going the ways of just seeking the personal sponsorships and just being like, fuck it.
Yeah, I would agree. I also think it comes down to personality as well. I mean, if you look at all of the players that have gone personal sponsorship route, the Koreans in particular, you look at Bomber with Red Bull. Mm-hmm. He speaks great English. He's playing in America. He's popular. He's got a great fan base. Polt, same thing. Fluent in English. Really good on camera. Really fun personality. MC, we all know what a crazy personality he has. Great to be on his own. Hyun, same kind of mold. He's fun. He's energetic. He's an aggressive Zerg. He has all of the qualities that you need to have personal sponsorship. So, again, this isn't new. This is something that Fatality did 10 years ago. So, they're all learning from that. But like Steven says, it's difficult when they're not playing on a regular basis in a team league because they literally have no reason to be in a team. I don't even think the practice really matters. Most of them are staying at other people's houses. I know a lot of the guys have spent time in the Axiom staff and played with all the Axiom guys out in the States, and then Team Liquid have had the same thing with EG, and they've had players playing in and out, and they've stayed with other teams. Hero right now is out there with IM. So there's I don't even think they need to be in a team for practice anymore either. So
What do you think about team leagues, Paul? I've never asked you what your thoughts are on
team leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I actually quite like them.
Yeah,
I actually quite like them.
Okay.
I would probably change the format a lot if I did one myself, but I don't think it needs to be 5 players or 7 or 15 if you're Incredible Miracle. I think 3 players is more than fine, and it means that you can get more teams in.
Yeah.
Don't particularly like the format. Sometimes it feels a bit kind of like ugh. And
Like
obviously I've got a lot of
all-kill
team league format experience. So yeah, the all-kill stuff I don't like because whether you have 5, 15 or 25 players, if you've got one guy that can kill a whole team, well,
exactly.
what's the point? It's not actually, it's like NRS. I mean, without all due respect to NRS, they've only done okay because Wellmu's playing like a god.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be rubbish right now. And that's, I said, no disrespect to the rest of the players, but he's playing like a god.
I think all kill format.
One player can have a difference, but he shouldn't be getting more than a point or 2 points at the very most. So, this is very much like pool leagues in the UK and in the US. You have 5 players, they play a best of 3 each, and then those points add up, and whoever's got the most points at the end of the night wins the game. And sometimes you can have a draw, and sometimes you can have a win or a loss. Right. And then you add it up in a league over a season, and they're the champions, or you have playoffs or whatever you want. But, I enjoy them in the main. I watch a lot of Pro League. I used to team leagues as well, so, yeah, I like them.
So you're going to say something?
I think that the all-kill format is stupid. It should never exist. It's just dumb. There are too many teams that have won too many team things that don't deserve to because of 1 or 2 good players. It's really, really stupid in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think WCS should ever do team stuff?
No.
Okay, that's another question.
Honestly, no. I don't think they should. I don't think they're there for that. I think it's it would be like saying, hey, you know what? Tennis is really cool. We should do a team tennis tournament at Wimbledon. I mean, what the fuck, really?
Yeah.
People go crazy. I mean, it's bad enough we have mixed doubles at Wimbledon. Everyone's like,
"Wow, man!
These guys used to be really good, and now they're rubbish. But they can still pick a really good female player who's number 1 in the world and win the mixed doubles." It's like, come on.
That's true.
So I don't know. Yeah, so I would prefer WCS stuck to what they know and what they're good at, and that's 1v1. That's the game. That's the meta right now, if you like. But there's definitely room for other team leagues to come around if they're done well. And actually, the one thing I think's missing of all things is some sort of StarCraft 2 World Cup. I would absolutely love that. You get the countries involved. They all bring 3-5 players along, and we play a 32-team World Cup format over a 3-day, 4-day period in a tournament. Area or arena, and I think that would be really cool. I think a lot of people would come, a lot of people would tune in. You get a lot of patriotism going on, and it would be cool to find out which was the best country for a year in StarCraft 2.
Okay, let's take a quick question here. We'll take a call. This is the last caller. Apparently he was really polite, so I have to take it. Unix, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Welcome to Unfiltered.
My mic's not, the best. Thanks, Chairman.
That's okay, it sounds good.
I'm just one of your new subs, so I just asked the question that's been on my mind for a while about esports, right?
Okay.
And I'm hoping that maybe Paul would answer it more because he is a tournament organizer and, he's someone who, has to think about this more. Is there ever an argument for double elimination where the loser bracket team gets the advantage instead of the winner? And before I have you guys answer, I'll just qualify it because I'm a layman, esports follower, I'm a typical fan. I know what I want and I know most people know what they want, right? But it's not gonna happen. So the thing about, me saying giving that loser team an advantage is if the winner bracket team who went through, probably less games to take TI for example, like Alliance. They went through the winners bracket, and then they did beat Navi, who got dropped down in the winners bracket final, 0-2, and then they came back. Like they played less games, but they got the chance to study the losers bracket team more, right? So, like if they beat the loser bracket team with a disadvantage in the grand final, wouldn't that prove that they're the best team in the world? So
No.
that's just my
Because
question.
they shouldn't have lost before.
Right.
That's the point of double elimination, is to effectively find the best 3 teams or best 3 players in the tournament, and double elimination is set up perfectly for that, in the way that if you lose to any player or any team on the way through, then you must be worse than that player. Therefore, you drop down to the lower bracket. You then have to beat other players that also drop down. And if that team that you lost to originally drops down and you beat them the second time around, well, then you've proved that actually the first one might not have been quite so strong. And that's where it gets a bit difficult with double elimination. But no, absolutely not. A team that drops down should never have an advantage. It should be always the team that continues to win. If you have a team that goes through the entire tournament without losing a match, regardless of how many they've played, then they have to be the best team, right? You can't say, well, the team that dropped down had to play more games, so that's unfair. Well, tough shit. That's the way it works. If you lose, you go down. The fact that it's double elim means that it's better than single elim, especially if you don't get the seeding right, because if you go out in single elim and you go out on a, or something happened and, I don't know, the internet disconnected or something else, then you're screwed. You're actually screwed. You're out in the round of 16 or the round of 8 and you get no more chances. The point of double elim is to remove some of the randomness of the tournament. And it absolutely does that in almost every tournament I've ever seen. That said, I'm a big proponent of single elimination because it absolutely drives much more passion and much more interest in each single game as an element of its own right. Whereas extended series, double elimination don't. They have an inevitability of, oh crap, well, even if he loses, he's still in the tournament, not really interested, blah, blah, blah. I'll come back later when there's actually something on the line.
Yeah.
Every single match in single elim has something on the line. One guy goes home, one guy advances. The only downside to it is that you can get shocks, which mean they remove players who perhaps wouldn't have been removed had it been double elim. So the only thing you must do, or the main thing you must do, is have a group stage first where seeding is absolutely as good as you can make it. I know a lot of tournament admins will argue with me and say seeding's really the hardest thing they ever do, and it is, but it still works in other sports that use groups into single elim. World Cup springs to mind, Champions League springs to mind. There's lots of competitions that are done that way, and they are perfectly successful at doing that. And I would love to see more of that.
Steven, as a player, what do you think of single elim tournaments?
I hate single elim. Fuck that shit. This is one of those things that's better for viewers, but worse for players. Single elimination is terrible for players because you can get bracket fucked, and then it's fucked. In terms of figuring out who the best player for a tournament is, the only way to accurately do that at StarCraft, in my opinion, is with you have to have some kind of like would you call it league play, round robin, stuff like that.
Round robin,
I don't think even double elimination doesn't even get you close to producing the best player of a tournament. Although it does a better job at single elimination.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's better than single. But I
elim.
mean, triple would be better than double. Quadruple elimination would be better than triple, etc.,
Of course.
etc. Just because
Where do you draw the line?
Oh my god.
way to draw the line. Well, that's eventually would just be round robin, where everybody plays everybody. Because it's really possible that a person who won the tournament was lucky that he avoided like the 1 or 2 people whose styles would have countered his and killed him out of the tournament. Stuff like that can happen a lot. So, I mean, but double elimination is cool. Single elimination is really good for the viewers because, like you said, there's a lot of tension, a lot of drama on every single match, but it's not necessarily good for the people playing because if you get bracket fucked, like, this sucks.
The best is the groups. I mean, like you were saying, Paul,
it's what that's
the groups
that's why I said
best.
you have to, as long as you like seed initially reasonably well, and then you put them into groups, and round robin play is good. It's not a dual tournament format; it's actually a proper round robin. Then you get a genuinely good idea of who's where. StarCraft's a little bit different because of the race matchups, but it still works. And then when they go into single elimination, at least you've got like Polters at one side of the bracket and Hero is at the other side of the bracket. If those are the 2 strongest players in the whole of the pool initially, then your seeding's worked and your group plays worked.
Well, not to mention...
I mean, this is something that people don't like to talk about, but seeding... The purpose of seeding is to intentionally fuck a lot of players over. Like, you realize that, right?
No!
That's exactly what seeding does.
No. Do you know what? I'm really passionate about this, Stephen. Ever since I've been at ESL, I've always said to them, we have to be absolutely transparent with our draws, and that's why I've almost always put them on screen. You'll virtually never see those draws not take place on screen anymore. I was very, very adamant that we had to be absolutely upfront, and we couldn't have any of the even. I'm not saying that ESL fixed their draws before, because I don't know, but there was a suspicion that they did, and I hated that suspicion. I wanted total transparency. We do it on screen. We do it live. Show people.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
I'm talking about seeding players based on like points and stuff, not doing it randomly. If you do it randomly, that's fine. But when you seed players, so that I
What do you
thought you were
randomly
talking
seed?
about.
I mean, what do you mean, like
When you
what's-
make it so that like the best players are on like the opposite ends of the bracket and stuff, and you separate out like good so that doesn't happen, it's really good for the good players. But for people that aren't as good, that seeding system intentionally fucks over because now if you're
Well,
like
it does.
the lower
Look
end
at
of the point
tennis.
system,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
to be-
Look at
it's meant
tennis.
to
I
crown
mean,
the best player, right?
Sure, but
Exactly.
no, but Stephen
But
has
if you're not
Stephen
the
has a
top-
fair point though, Chris.
Yeah.
Stephen does have a fair point. Look at Andy Murray, right?
Yeah.
Last year he was seeded either 3 or 4, which meant he always played Federer,
He
in
always played
every
Federer. Yep.
every
I remember.
semi-final. And his matchup against Federer was awful last year. He was much better against the other two, even though they're better players in theory because they're higher ranked. But because he always met Federer in the semi-finals, he was always screwed. So he couldn't move on. He couldn't get any better because he was always getting the wrong type of player. Now you can argue, well, get better at that matchup then. Well, sure,
Yeah.
but that's you're still
No,
there's still an
anyways.
element of randomness in there.
Yeah, I know
Exactly,
what you.
yeah. That's like the seating is really good for getting like the fans, like the people at the top always benefit. But then again, like you got to keep in mind, like there might be the guy who's like, I fucking suck, but I know I could make round of 8. But because of my seating, I'm always against Tasia round 1. And then if I manage to beat fucking Tasia, I'm going out next round because then another awesomely seated guy is gonna fuck me, you know. So like the seating technically really hurts people who are not at
but
the
on the
top.
other hand,
That's
but on the
rewarding.
other hand, if I'm ranked 32 and I beat Tasia in round 1, then I'm going to play a guy that's ranked 17 next. So actually, I'm going to play an easier player, absolutely guaranteed. And then I might end up playing the guy that beat the 17th seed guy because he might have had a good run as well. So you can still have a good run.
I think
I
it's
do
possible,
take your point.
yeah. That's why I like round robin. I think that round robin produces the best. Obviously, it's not the most exciting for tournament formats, but for a game like StarCraft 2, where there's so much randomness and shit that can happen just between like a single best of 3.
Yeah.
But that's not really realistic.
That's
so,
why
yeah.
I said earlier, I love, DreamHack have a great system where they do 3 lots of round robin and then they do knockout.
Right.
I like that because they have a lot of players in there who could get really screwed if they just did the dual tournament or double elimination all the way through. There'd be loads of players coming out in the first few rounds.
I mean, it's a solution to both production and competitive problems
it's
because
definitely
you
a-
show the
it's
player.
a compromise.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're guaranteed to show X number of matches from every single player too, which is nice. You know what I mean? Like some of these single eliminations, if you lost like very high profile players, that kind of sucks, right, for production.
Yep.
So with groups, it's cool that way. Unix.
Yeah,
answer your
so
question?
just I guess a follow-up question. It's a rather small one, so I hope you guys don't
Okay, sure.
lose all your saliva. We've talked about like seeding into the double limb. Does this mean that like for the grand final, and I'm talking about specifically for the grand final, like because I've seen this only once or twice in StarCraft, probably at Lone Star Clash. I don't know if you remember, Chris, Bomber versus Stefano.
Yeah.
That went like from a initial grand final where Bomber won, and they played all 8 games. So do you think that should there be a follow-up like best of 3 if some loser team wins like something like that, or do you think that like they should do it as like TI does it, where you went through the winners bracket, you went through the losers bracket, you found the 2 best teams or players, and that's it. They just play it out. Like it's sort of like the Champions League that
So there's no extended series. Is that
No,
what
there's
you're
no
saying?
extent. So
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no
a
extended.
true.
Yeah,
I always
know,
believe
like-
if you're going to run double elimination bracket, then you have to obey the rules of double elimination. And double elimination says you have to win 2 sets if you come from the lower bracket. You have to win 1 set if you come from the upper.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to time schedules and production and cost of venues and God knows what else, what a lot of tournament organizers do is they give the upper bracket team an advantage of 1 map or 1 series or whatever. And that I don't think is fair because you're directly penalizing the team below because there's no room for mistake after that. They don't get a chance to come back. If it's you have to win 2 series, then there's no luck involved in 2 series wins.
Yeah, and starting 0-0.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think you
Starting-
start 0-0 and you play out 2 sets of. If they say like it's best of 3 final, and the upper bracket only has to win one of those, and the lower bracket has to win two. I think that's perfectly fair. That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what the
Yeah.
bracket play is about.
Yeah, because psychologically, starting 0-0 is way different than starting 2-0 in like a best of 7 or something like that. You know, there's a big difference. That's why I've never been a huge fan of it, and I think Paul's right. You should you should have to win 2 of them from 0-0, and that's the most fair way, in my opinion. But all right,
so
Unix.
just start let us like change it. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for your question,
Chris.
Nice.
I hope like WCS, goes well for Europe and every other region. I hope like you guys are gonna like take over Korea probably. But
Oh my gosh, Paul, you guys take over Korea too?
Our annexation of Korea is well underway. Thank you.
Nice.
I mean, it's happening in like Dota, but Dota's a different game. So all right, thanks so much, guys.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Oh my god, if you guys took WCS Korea too, oh man, you'd be one busy dude, man.
I don't think that. Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen somehow.
All right.
I think I've got hair falling out and grey eyebrows that just from having 2.
That's right. It's getting late, but final question from Weazon, and it's to all of us. And I guess he apparently asked it last week too. Was there something you wanted to call each other out on, but haven't for some reason?
I wish Richard was on the show.
I know.
Right now.
I wish Richard. That's a question for
we
Richard.
We did have a conversation off air before this began, but
Oh,
I need him to
shit.
explain his side
Damn,
of
let
things
me
before
see
I
if he's
call him out on
around.
it. Otherwise, it's not funny.
Oh,
but
fuck,
maybe
let me
next
see.
week or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll call in or something.
Let me see if he's around. He's supposed to
if I ever-
jump in. He's supposed to jump in.
No, I don't think I have ever wanted to call either of you two guys out about
Yeah.
anything. I don't think I have anything to.
The one thing
Pull you out.
for certain is every time that Paul's on my show, I have the shittiest production days, like ever. I swear to you, every time he's on
No,
my
I
show,
told you.
it's like,
Dude, I did explain to you, like even when I was on the show regularly before as a
oh,
host,
God.
technical issues follow me wherever I go. Just talk to any of the production guys at ESL and they'll tell you, never let ReDeYe anywhere near anything that's electrical or mechanical.
You're
The
not
only
even
thing he's allowed
here,
to
man.
do- No, the only thing he's allowed to have is a backpack for his earpiece and a microphone. And I tell you what, over the weekend, I even broke a backpack and I still have no idea how it screwed. I mean, it didn't have any signal in it and I couldn't hear anything in my ear. I don't know.
Nice. You're going to have to call in next week.
Yeah.
Definitely going to have to call in next week because I think we definitely have a good one. But, all right, let's wrap the show. It's great having you again, Paul, as always.
It's a
And
pleasure.
Sorry about
It's a pleasure.
starting late and, gosh, I just
it's all good.
didn't anticipate all those things happening. But any shout-outs and thank yous you want to do?
Just to everyone that tunes in, and thank you to you guys for having me on again, and to all the people at ESL did a great job over the weekend and continue to do a great job and have been working really, really hard in the background to put together some really exciting esports stuff over the summer. I can't really. I'm like a school kid in a candy shop right now. I just can't wait to get to June. It's going to be, I think, probably the most awesome month I've ever had in esports. Really looking forward to stuff going on. So. Just keep doing a great job at ESL and to all of our partners and all of our sponsors as well. Thank you so much for support. And I hope 2014 we continue to delivering a great experience for everyone that tunes in.
Awesome. Steven.
Check out destiny.gg/ting, destiny.gg/shave. You can get cheap cell phones, cheap razors, fucking awesome shit. Ting is doing iPhones now, I think. I've told you guys all know this shit. Also check out the Phoenix products. They've got cool shit. Mice, mouse pads, keyboards, and headsets now.
Where's that new headset you're supposed to be showing off? Like, the hell
I
is
haven't
this
got it
thing?
yet. I should be doing...
Damn it.
Listen, I'm going to be doing a product giveaway tomorrow, okay? For Phoenix stuff, so make sure you guys tune in for that, too.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, did I miss anything? I think that's good. Shout out to ChanManV for having me on his show. Thanks, ChanManV. I appreciate it so much.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. I'll just give a shout out to you two for being on the show, especially you, Paul, for being on so late. I know it's really, really late over there. And all you folks that are watching can watch the VODs on youtube.com/ChanManV. I'll have it up shortly after. Didn't actually get a chance to put them up, like, the pieces during the show because these guys were so engaging today. But I'll have it up shortly, just again, like maybe about 30 minutes after. So be sure to check that out. Sub there too. Follow us all on Twitter at ChanManV, at Steven_Bunnell, and at Paul Challoner. And follow the channel too if you enjoy the show or any of my other shows. Speaking of which, Wednesday Night Surprise tomorrow night, 10:30, guys. Value Town on Thursday. Probably going to have Blizzard devs come on, talk about the Hearthstone Hearthstone announcements at PAX, and then Friday Deck Wars, which is on the Machinima channel. So busy week as always, and be sure to tune in. But that's going to be it for Unfiltered this week. So for ReDeYe, Destiny, and ChanManV, we'll see you next time. Later.